Miku herself also had a lot of unique pieces. The skin, for example, still uses that main anime shader, but also with one big red texture to add blushing and redness to her skin, and there's a subtle shine on top as well. Her eyes, hair, and bottom of her hat has this almost ethereal star background peeking through, which really just starts out as a simple Voronoi texture, with extra notes that change its colors and coordinates. Her hair and eyes also have their own complicated shaders set up, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Since we finished the music video, Goo Engine actually took part in a big bootcamp to help Blender figure out ways to improve their stylized rendering options. And I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Now, I'm not saying that my music video is the sole responsible reason for that, but I will show you this graph detailing the events in order, so, make up your own theories about that one. We'd agreed to get the music video done before the 21st of August, and whilst we did have lyrics, without an actual song to match, it was still pretty hard to actually finish our storyboards. We were trying our best to draft out the scenes with the limited info we had though. Finally, about 1.5 months before the deadline, we finally got an early draft of the song though, meaning we had no more roadblocks. Now with the lyrics and music, we could rough out all the shots. I made each cell in the storyboard be just a few seconds each and marked down the lyrics and time so we had a better idea of the pacing. We sketched out ideas all over the place. Some were reorganized a few times, some ideas we scrapped completely in favor of others, but after roughly a week we had a decent plan for the entire music video. When planning the storyboard with so little time left, we were trying to think of smarter ways to reuse existing scenes to cut down on work. Early on, we decided we were gonna have one big scene with a stage and a crowd, a kind of huge magic pool and hundreds of paper ghouls coming out of it to cheer. A handful of scenes with Miku and a witch's broom flying through the sky, her and a frog around a big cauldron, multiple scenes with Miku in this ethereal void, surrounded by more frogs, and Miku scaring Rin and Len in a little tent. Those two and all the ghouls in the big crowd, we decided we'd make as big paper cutouts. With the limited time we had, it would have been impossible to make actual 3D character models for all of them. So it felt like a decent compromise. At some point I had also created a spreadsheet with all of the shots, so we could track our progress and see how many unique scenes we were doing. I could see exactly how many shots there were left and how many times a specific location was used. So this, together with the storyboards, became a blueprint for everything going forward. For the actual animating, what I'd do was first of all set up the cameras and a very rough block out of Miku's movement. You can see in the spreadsheet that I worked on multiple shots at the same time. Since I was the sole animator, it was nice to have the ability to go back and forth between different stuff to not get burned out on one single thing. There was also a lot of dancing shots, and while I can bust a bit of a move, this was a very difficult thing to get down. Apart from the main big stage, most of the scenes were made only for the camera's view. So moving the camera around it all, you can see that the illusion easily breaks. And there's also a lot of instances where I just avoid animating parts of her body entirely, if they aren't directly in view. After the main chunk of animation was done for each shot, I'd do the lip syncing and facial expressions. I had made a big set of different poses I could reuse, so lip syncing wasn't too difficult in the end. I just went through frame by frame and gradually slipped the poses over until it looked right. Whilst I was doing all of this, I intermittently sent updates to Krypton about our progress, and it was surprisingly smooth the entire way through. There were almost no critiques about anything we did, so we just kept at it. When a scene was finally fully animated, it's time for rendering and some light compositing. Similar to the anime shader, I had made one big compositing node to add a kind of unique lens flare effect and everything. Also, using a special output of just the shadows from my anime shader, I was able to add a kind of warm light around the edges of all the shadows in the scene, similar to how a lot of people paint. The only thing left was adding the promo with the actual magic cards. With that, on the 29th of August, we were officially finished. After about 2 months of hard work, it was now time to just sit back and relax and wait for it to be released. It was honestly kind of anticlimactic, like, now what? When the video was finally published on YouTube though, it made it all worth it. I am really thankful that I got the opportunity.